Welcome to another Boomer Bust Editorial. I'm your host Terry, and today talking about the Myles Garrett situation. I have to get my feelings out because I'm hearing a lot of rhetoric going on, a lot of conversation, and some of it I think is frankly ridiculous. But let me start by saying I 100% agree Myles Garrett needs to be held accountable for his actions. I think everybody involved in that made stupid decisions, and they all should be held accountable for those actions. I'm not exonerating anybody. I think everybody was in the wrong. With that being said, a lot of the conversations I'm hearing are just a little far-fetched and ridiculous to me. And I think that we should talk about the nuance, and I'm going to, but I don't think a lot of people have talked about the nuance. I think a lot of it has been hyperbole. A lot of it has been faulty logic. And I think it's just been bad rhetoric and debate, to be honest with you, if you want to talk about it that way. And so I was talking to someone last night, and they said I was dumb because I was talking about context. And let me tell you, if somebody tells you that you're dumb for bringing up context, just don't have that conversation because it's not going to go anywhere. Context is always important. Everything happens in context. It doesn't happen in a vacuum. There's always details to the situation. And so to start off, you have people talking about equating this to assault on the street. Now, is the helmet a weapon? Can it be used as a weapon? Yes, like many things, it can be used as a weapon, but it's not a weapon in and of itself. That's not its purpose. And so for people to talk about this is like, hey, this is like him coming up to him with a knife on the street. No, it is not. For many reasons, no, it is not. You don't just get to remove the context of a football game and make a loose transition like that. So, yes, the helmet was not used for its intended purposes, but that's not the same thing. So all this is assault. There should be criminal charges, and I get there's precedents in sports for that, but still, in this particular situation, all this talk about assault and being a criminal and being barbaric, I think is absolutely ridiculous. And so that's where I would like to start there. Now, going into the situation of what happened, because if you didn't see it, which we all saw it, but if you didn't see it and you heard the narrative, you would think it was just some barbaric, just absolute wild action. When in reality, it was a flare-up that happened between a frustrated team that was about to lose and against a team that they thought they should have beat. And now you have people puffing their chest out. You have people jawing, people getting in people's face. And usually when that happens, it kind of fizzles out. But this time, when something happens, people want to go all crazy and be shocked. And again, Myles Garrett should be held accountable for those actions. But the thing is, like, people will puff their chests out and talk a good game. And then when something actually pops off, people want to be shocked. Like the people in it or the people watching. The thing is, don't talk about a fight. Don't talk like, this isn't the same thing, but same thing in the streets. Don't talk about shooting and killing people and not expect to be in a situation where that might happen and then be shocked about it. So I'm not saying again that Myles should have did it or anyone should do anything, but if you're going to jaw, you're going to get in people's face, you're going to run up and be shocked when something happens to you is absolutely ridiculous. So that goes to my first point, Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph started, and I hear so many people just, that doesn't matter. It does matter. It absolutely does matter. Why does Myles Garrett have Mason Rudolph's helmet? Did Myles Garrett run onto the field and take Rudolph's helmet after he was on the ground? Did Myles Garrett run across to the other sideline, take his helmet off? No. Myles Garrett took his helmet off because Mason Rudolph was doing whatever he was doing. And that's the other part. People keep talking with conviction as if they know what happened down there. And again, I don't know what was said. I don't know what was done. I don't know if there was a poke, a bite, a grab. We don't know what happened, but whatever it was enough to set Myles Garrett off. Again, not saying that makes it okay, but we don't know the full context of that either. whatever Mason Rudolph did to initiate it, if it was just him trying to rip the helmet off, then Myles Garrett retaliated. So a lot of times people are like, well, they always catch the second person, which is true, but that doesn't make the first person right. And so now Mason Rudolph's at a point, he tried to do something. Myles Garrett said, let me show you how it's done. He does it to him, rips his helmet off. Now at this point, Mason Rudolph backs away, goes to the sideline, and Myles Garrett chases him down, hits him with a helmet. No, that's not what happened. Mason Rudolph ran back at him with no helmet on, still trying to get in the fray, and gets popped. Now, honestly, I don't care if it was the helmet. I don't care if Myles Garrett dropped the helmet and pulled off a punch and jawed Mason Rudolph. I don't care if he ran up and he got kicked in his chest. Whatever happened at that point, Mason Rudolph shouldn't have been in that situation. And then he definitely shouldn't be shocked when something happens to him. Because, like, again, a lot of these fake players expect to just roll up, talk a lot, and then it's going to be nothing. So there, Mason Rudolph is already a big problem. Myles Garrett, I mean, again, at that point, I think you just got to make your choice. And as any player, a lot of people talk about, oh, he's 6'5", he's 260, he's 270, he's rocked up. Mason Rudolph is way lighter than him, and that does not matter. Why do we keep bringing up size? That context does not matter in this point. We're talking about two NFL players. We're not talking about a grown man and a little kid on the street. We're not talking about a corner who's 185 pounds. Oh, well, he gets to act and do this because he's smaller. No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about two grown men, football players. I don't care which one was bigger. At that point, you make your decision. I don't care what it is, because people are just like, oh, it's the same thing, which kind of veers off, but same thing people talk about domestic violence and things like that. Like, oh, you're so much bigger. So now we're trying to make it seem like, oh, there's some type of responsibility that you have because you're bigger. Now that you're bigger, you have to babysit and take care of Mason Rudolph more. No, Mason Rudolph made his decision as a football player, and then Myles Garrett made his decision as a football player. It's not, oh, well, okay, let's look at the height to weight ratio and see who should have did what. No, that's not how it works. I don't care if it was Denzel Ward, their corner, who's about 170 pounds. I don't care if it was him who swung the helmet. What are we going to say then? Oh, well, Mason Rudolph is a lot bigger than him, so are we blaming Mason Rudolph now? No, we're not. So I don't want to hear that whole size and it looks so vicious. Oh, I want to hear that stuff. Pouncey. Oh, my God. To me, that was the worst of it all. I mean, honestly, a flare-up. You run up on somebody, what happens. And maybe I'm jaded in that sense that I've seen worse violence. But at the end of the day, Pouncey to me was the worst of it all, because Pouncey then tries to literally fight this man while he's already tackled. Now we want to talk about size by DeCastro, who's a lot bigger than him. And he's already on top of Garrett. And Pouncey misses just every punch attempt, every kick. He took a kick attempt, missed that. But he literally is trying to fight. Now, we're not talking about pushing somebody off, grabbing somebody. He's literally trying to fight a dude with a helmet on. I always think football players look stupid trying to fight, like square up like they gonna box when they clearly have helmets on. And so he pulls that dumb move, but then he does it while somebody else is engaged. The ultimate stupid move to me, and that's the softest thing out of all of this, because to me, at the end of the day, you're talking about Garrett and Rudolph, two dudes going at it, like, okay, kind of going at it, because Rudolph was protected by his lineman, but still, they're squaring off more or so man to man, because Rudolph, again, got into range where he could get hit because he was in there trying to talk crap. But then Pouncey rolls around and just tries to sneak shot people. And I'm just like, dude, that was soft. That was soft. And it's funny because everybody's just like, well, what if Garrett hit him like this? What if Garrett did this? Well, what if there was no helmet on Garrett? And then now we got Pouncey jawing him and kicking him in the face. Okay, so we can do this all day with the what if game. But that was the softest thing to me. Lastly, I mean, they keep saying, maybe not in the NFL, but they keep saying we never seen something this crazy before. Do we not remember the University of Miami brawl not too long ago? And I forgot. I almost feel like Sean Taylor was in that, the great safety. But it was the University of Miami. I forgot who they were against. It was a brawl, and guess what? They weren't swinging other people's helmets, but they were swinging their helmets, and it was multiple people. And so, again, that's precedence. There's some ugly things in football, and it's all subjective of what you think is worse and not. But to me, this isn't the worst thing ever, especially when you talk about the context and intentions. Like, some people brought up Albert Hainsworth stepping on somebody's head with no helmet with cleats. Are you serious? To me, way worse. This isn't Myles Garrett running across to do something to Mason Rudolph to be dirty. Everyone's like, oh, dirty, dirty. This is somebody that started and instigated, and then somebody that retaliated. Again, still needs to be held accountable, but is not in the same league to me as other things. And so Mason Rudolph wants to start that, and then people want to jump on Myles Garrett because he won. And sometimes it's the same thing they say. They catch the second person. So just because you know you win doesn't always mean it's a good thing. Because guess what? Mason tried to do the same thing, but then he couldn't. And Myles Garrett did it because he showed him how to do it. And now Myles Garrett won, and now he's the culprit. And so, oh, it's barbaric. And then, you know, you got Samuel, some other people tweeting like, well, if the quarterback had got the helmet off, are we calling him barbaric? And that's a whole nother political thing, but it's got to be brought up. I just think it's very interesting how strongly people are reacting as if Myles Garrett did this in a vacuum when it was obviously precipitated by other actions. And everybody should be held responsible. I don't even think Mason Rudolph got any suspension. But Myles Garrett has been suspended indefinitely. People talking about long game. And I know you got to make a example out of him, but honestly, if it was me, I wouldn't give him more games than I gave Pouncey. Not even for nothing that he's a better player, but then that he wasn't the agitator. And so he definitely has issues, but I would probably give him and Pouncey 6 games each. And I would definitely make sure I put in some resources to talk with Myles Garrett. But to me, reacting out of anger in a physical sport is nowhere near the same as like going across the field or purposely trying to agitate something. And I know he's got past things as well, but that's just how I feel. So anyway, go to the comment section. Let me know what you think. Share it around, get the conversation started. Thank you for listening.